Hello, I'm Kimberly Horn.
And I'm Hudson Warren.
And we meant well.
So you want to talk about it?
Oh, I think we should talk about it.
Oh my goodness. How many times can we mean well and still screw things up?
In fairness, we're not the only ones that screwed things up.
This is true.
At this particular juncture.
Yeah. So let's start with my client was getting kind of recognized for being in the top.
Well, let's start with we were at a big national work event for our company. So big convention, thousands and thousands of people from all over the country, all over the world, really. Let's start there.
Yeah, lots of scheduling, lots of stuff. And so my client was getting this really nice recognition. She's in the top 50. And so she was the only one of my clients that got it. So I was invited to go as well, which I thought was kind of cool that they did
super
that
cool
for our clients because that's a big deal. And so I kept texting her to make sure she was going to go because if she didn't go, I was going to go with you guys to have dinner. So she finally was like, I'm in an Uber. And I thought to myself, I did think this, and I didn't say it to you guys. She's like, I'm in my Uber. I'll see you there soon. I'm like, why is she getting there so early?
What a great question.
That should have been the light bulb that went bing.
Well, that's light bulb number one. Light bulb number two is, I think for a solid hour and a half to 2 hours, our little group of friends kept mentioning, oh, we should figure out where we're going to dinner. But then somebody who has squirrel DNA, which we all do, would say, oh, and we'd go off on a bunny trail. And so we're never figuring out dinner. Now, remember, thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So not really easy to just walk into a restaurant, right?
So I showed up an hour late to my event.
Yes, absolutely. An hour late to an event that was an hour and a half long. Let's get that part right. And now also you said, hey, you were proactive. You were the leader you are. So you were like, hey, there's a reservation here at 8 p.m.
And I'm not even going to dinner with you. Well, I'm going to show up after.
Yeah. So she's cool. We'll do that. So we take the reservation and we go to this restaurant and we probably should have known when we had to wait to sit at the reservation that things were going to get weird. But yeah, just nothing went right at this restaurant. Nothing went right.
No, because I showed up. Let's see, my event ended right around 8:30. And so I showed up to, y'all's reservations were 8. When I got there about 9:15, you didn't even have it. Well, y'all had one drink and bread.
Yes, there was a drink. There was bread. We were given rations. But there was no food. We had ordered food. And we had ordered appetizers as well. We did not get our appetizers until I think it was about 10:15 when they finally showed up. Now, during that time, one of our friends who was there with us realized that she was starting to go down. You know, when you think you're getting a cold and it comes on real quick.
Yes.
Yeah. She knows that she needed to get out of there. So we asked for her food to go. Okay, it'll be out in no time. So she paid for it. Great. She wanted to be proactive. She wanted to get out of there. It didn't happen.
That didn't happen. Not at all.
Yeah. So basically we waited over 2 hours to get food, which came out cold. Her food didn't come out to go. At that point, she had left anyways.
It came out to go. Remember, it was on a plate with a hard thing. Like if you were at a hotel and they had room service.
Right, except we weren't at a hotel, so it wasn't really to go. So she had already been long gone anyways. And look, thankfully, one of our other friends volunteered to be the Karen, and I can tell you we didn't pay for the meal. Granted, we also didn't get most of the meal.
Yeah.
But man, we did we thought we were on it.
We were on it with the reservations. Anyways, yeah, we meant well.
We meant well. We always do. It doesn't always work that way.
No, it doesn't always work that way.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my. Well, here you go.
Here we go,
Here
right?
we go, right? Onward to the next thing.
Yes.
All right. We got to talk about it.
We got to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The crazy, right?
The constant crazy. So between us, what do we got?
Look, we have 9 kids. We have 8 businesses. We have 2 marriages.
Yeah. I mean,
and partridges and pear trees. Yeah.
And pets and friends and calendars and lives. So I think we kind of should get into it. Here's what it is. I love a good story about someone's love story.
Agreed.
Personally. And so I know most of your love story, but I know that I know it really, really well. So I'd like to kind of hear about the Hudson and Brian love story.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about it. So, I mean, I had been the whole reason we even know each other and I live in Florida is because I moved here for a long distance relationship, and we met well on that one. It was maybe not the best or the healthiest relationship.
Sure.
Super grateful for it. Wouldn't be here without it. And it was the whole thing. And so that was like an on again, off again thing. And one of the first times it went off, it's the modern age. So what did I do? I went on the little apps and put myself on the little apps and didn't really do much with it. And then at some point, this person that I had moved here for, we ended up reconnecting, and I don't always learn the first time. So we get back together and I shut these apps down. As I'm doing that, I guess somebody named Brian had maybe sent me a really nice message about wanting to meet on the Match.com. And I never saw it, so I never responded to it.
Oh, was it?
It had months had gone by. And so months went by, and then this person and I split again because we were not meant to be together. Nothing wrong with them, just woo, baby. We were not meant to be together.
Was it meant to be?
And anyway, so I go back on these things. Now at this point, I'm a little pissy pants. Me never. Am I 36 at that point? I'm thinking everything would have been figured out by now, and here I am moving across the country, starting over. What the freak is happening?
What was the time? Wait, what was the time frame between when you moved here, like in that relationship?
I moved here in February of 2014, and at this point, this final break from him would have been April, the very beginning or very end of April 2017.
Okay, so about 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm having one of those moments of like, you know what? Damn it, I'm done and I'm not waiting any longer. So like an idiot, like literally just getting out of this and not really expecting anything other than being in a moment, I turned all the apps back on. So a day, like no time goes by and I get a message, and it's from Brian. And I still at this point don't realize that he had messaged before. But so he sends a message. I responded. We go back and forth for a few days. I've literally just gotten out of a relationship. I'm not really thinking anything's going to happen. And we're having good conversation, and he wanted to go to dinner. So I said, whatever, like, what do I have to lose here? It's dinner.
Why not?
It's fine. It doesn't matter. And now, mind you, at this point, I have my entire family who still lives in California in town. So they're here on my coast, on this coast for a few days, then going to the other where I have family. So I'm like, well, I do want to go to dinner. I mean, I don't know. So I made this thing like, hey, you guys go to the other coast, and then I'll come a day later. I've got some work to catch up on, which they do know this now. So anyway,
so I did not know it then.
So I stayed back for a night. We had dinner, and the rest was history.
Oh my!
Like it was done. I mean, we were engaged within 6 months. Like it was done. And as you know, it's gone wild. And it's just funny because he will still absolutely hold it over my head that he had to message me twice to get me to answer.
Oh, I would totally hold it over your head.
It's a
for
thing.
life. Yeah,
it's a thing. So here we are.
So you guys were engaged 6 months. You got married.
We got married a year and a half later. So we were together about 2 years before we were married, but we got engaged real early. And it's funny because I've been in a number of relationships that were quite long, and I never went there. So I think it's that thing that if you haven't found your person sounds annoying, but it's the whole when you know, you know.
It's the whole when you
like I never doubted it. It was one of those things. By the end of dinner, I was like, oh, this is happening.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. We closed down
me.
the restaurant. Dinner was like 3 hours. They needed to ask us to leave. It was just so good, the conversation.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Did you kiss at the end of the first date?
Yeah, like a real little itty bitties.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so, all right, cool. Okay, so, all right, I'm just getting like the whole thing down.
So what about you? What about you and Mike?
Oh, ours did not work out like that.
Well, I know some of it, but
I was not fast and furious on ours. I knew really early on though.
Yeah.
So I was in a relationship as well. Like I was in a relationship when I met Mike, and
scandalous.
I know. And I was, my degree's in exercise science. So I was working at a fitness facility, and it's in Atlanta, Georgia. And I moved there right out of college because I wanted to be a little bit far away from my family, but not close enough where they could knock on the door, like on a Tuesday night. And so I was the fitness director for this fitness facility, and the cops in town got a free membership.
Okay.
So it was like their place to go and work out. And this isn't a like buff gym. They do everything from prenatal exercise to cardiac rehab. So, I mean, it's like,
Okay.
it's a range of everything. I mean, there are a lot of fit people there, obviously, right?
Yeah, but this is
And so I was in charge of creating like all of the big fitness programs. So I would create I revamped the whole program, and I did this class called Boot. Like today, it would be like your CrossFits and but I
Yeah.
created 2 classes. One was called Boot Camp and one was called Combat. And the whole idea is that people come in, and I'm pretty sure I have a little sadistic in me because I love to hurt people in
yeah,
the gym.
that's
You understand
sadistic.
that?
Yeah.
So I created this really big calendar on the wall, and he walks up, cutie that he was, and he's like, and I was about to go teach the boot camp class. He goes, "Hey, is this class, are you going to like dance in this class?" Because back then step
Yeah.
and dance was a big deal. Jazzercise was a big deal. And my response was this. I'm like, "No, this is a little bit of a hard class. I don't know if you can handle it." And then I just walked off. And guess who followed me?
Well, of course he did. And when you told me the story the first time, I was like, well, he certainly knew what he was getting into from Hello.
Right? There was no secrets from Hello.
No.
So anyways, so speaking of the chaos, or speaking of him getting to know me right away, we were all friends. The relationship that I was in,
Mhm.
and him and another guy, we would all go to dinner. Like we would hang out on a Friday night as friends. I mean, it was totally friends.
Yeah.
We were good friends for 2.5 years. We did like Tough Mudders together. We'd go to concerts together. At the time, the person I was in a relationship with he would say something like, "Well, just go hang out with Mike." And how a relationship isn't working is when you'd have more fun with your friend than you do with your current
Yeah.
relationship. So I, of course, ended that relationship, and which was tough because we'd been together for some time. And immediately, not immediately, but pretty close, started dating Mike. And we dated for 5 years. And it was a journey. And that's probably another story, but it was a journey.
Yeah.
A good one.
Hey, here you are.
And it just took 5 years for us to get to the I do.
I don't know if that's what your wedding looked like, but
Oh no, the wedding was me running down the aisle going, "Yes, yes, yes."
oh my goodness.
I found the guy. I do
love it.
believe though, and I'm sure you probably feel this. I only think that one person was put on planet Earth to put up with me.
I mean, with love, I would say that's probably fair.
Yeah.
Probably
it's
pretty
him.
true of me as well.
It's probably pretty true of both of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I've got him. I've got the guy who's
Yeah.
he's awesome. 20 years. We
Yeah.
just celebrated 20 years.
I love it.
I know. I
Very
know.
cool.
So now let's talk about the kids that we've all got.
Well, we have a lot of them.
Yeah. Well,
I have a lot.
you're an overachiever. 'Cause
I
you've
am.
doubled me.
I'm competitive at all I do, so I can't be friends with anybody that has more kids than
Oh,
me.
my
So,
Lord. Well, thank
what are we
goodness.
going to do? Yeah,
I'm going to stop with you. I'm not going any farther.
please. Good choice.
Good choice. All right. So tell us about the journey, because your journey is not as
Oh gosh. I mean,
I think a lot of people go through your journey in
of
regards
course,
to
no,
adoption.
but it's not your typical, right? Yeah. I mean, it was so funny. Every once in a while when the kids are making us crazy, Brian will look at me and say, if we just wouldn't have gone in the pool that day, because we were living together, we were still engaged, not married yet. And, when you're single not single, but when you're with no kids and you're not married yet and life is super carefree, you may go into the pool on the weekends sometimes, and you may take beverages into the pool with you and get
Yeah.
into real deep conversations.
Yes.
So we got into the whole, hey, do you ever want kids? Have you ever thought about kids? And basically we found out that both of us had really wanted to have kids. And also both of us kind of didn't know if that was ever going to happen. I mean, who knows, right? We were getting a little bit older. And so that went to Google searches, which went to finding resources, which went to, now we have 6 children.
Yeah, wait. though.
yeah.
How many kids? So in the pool with the cocktails, having your single fun, how many kids did you say you wanted to have?
we didn't really get that far.
You didn't be like, I
we-
want 2, you
we-
want 3.
It eventually morphed into that. There was the whole like, 2, maybe 3. I don't know.
Okay.
That really was the
There
conversation.
was a range of
And
something.
look, in all things, something that I've learned in life and business is the more specific you can be, the better it is. Because we do have 2 sets of siblings, and we did go through 3 adoptions. So we did the 2 or 3 thing, but it just ended up with 6 children.
I feel like we have good math because my story's not far off from your
Oh,
math.
yeah.
we have good
Numbers
math.
are great.
But there's
So yeah, no, it was this thing where it kind of went from conversation to we'll look into it to okay, we'll take this class you have to take. We did know we only wanted to adopt. Like, and look, there's a million ways to do it. Like, I
absolutely.
have no judgment on somebody, but we just thought, gosh, there's so many kids that need help.
Yeah.
I don't know why I need to create another one of me or another one of him.
Yeah.
And yeah. So why would we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I met you. Let's see. I had met you in our office. For
Yeah,
a
we
class
met at
that
some
we'd
point.
had. Yeah,
But yeah.
we had not really. We just kind of knew each other,
Right.
right? And it wasn't even that. It was like, hey, and then we both started coaching the same program, and we were headed off to one of our events, and got to sit beside each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you had already adopted the boys.
Yes, we had our first litter. Because if anyone's ever gone through adoption, especially through the foster care system, like it's just a weird thing to go through.
Yeah.
You see a kid or kids that you're interested in, you essentially submit. It's a horrible way to compare, but way more people have adopted dogs or cats, and it's pretty much the same thing. You look at pictures online and you think that's
Oh.
cute. You look at
I
their
didn't think
story,
about
you're like,
that.
that's not terrifying. Great. And then you click a button and you take your approval packet, but then you also always are jumping through hoops. Florida's weird. So Florida's foster care system is not like, it's not government run. And so there's not like one way of doing it. There's all
Right.
these private non-for-profit agencies that all have their own ways. So every time you apply, it's 300,000 pages and all this stuff you have to fill out. You redo it and you redo it. And most of the time you don't get a response. Sometimes you get a no or you get a maybe. It's frustrating. And so we'd applied for, at this point, I really don't remember the name of whoever we had applied for. And we got called from a caseworker who said, you were second in line. It was so close. I know this is frustrating. I just want you to know that.
Oh.
And she said, gosh, we have some kids that aren't in the system. Are you open to siblings? To which we were like, yeah, we had talked about that. If we were going to have more than one, how cool would it be to keep a couple of siblings together? Anyways. And so she says,
a couple, not a few.
So she starts telling. Now, what you should know is that Brian and I had talked, and we were like 2 to 3 tops, 1 to 2 to start. And we wanted school age kids. So we wanted them to at least be 5 years old. We were both working.
Right.
We didn't have the need for a baby. We wanted kids that were at least in school so we could kind of ease into this.
Yeah.
So she starts talking. So they're boys. There's 3 of them. Okay, that's strike 1. There's 3. That's a lot. So they're boys. And we wanted a boy and a girl or girls. Like, okay, we got boys. We got 3 of them. She's like, they're a little young. Okay, how young? Well, they're 2, 3, and 4. Oh, okay,
Doorstep.
great. But again, we've been told no so many times. This is our first glimmer of hope. So I'm the one that took the call. I said, look, sure, we'll meet them.
Right.
I told Brian, he was like, I'm so glad you said that. Let's go meet them. Okay, well, I don't know, if you are listening to this and you've adopted a child, I have to, you must understand. Like, one visit, we were like, okay, well, those are our kids. Like, what are you going to, like,
yeah. It's like,
oh no, take them back.
it's like
not
you
to-
never, and I don't mean to like dumb this down or make this thing, but you never go into like a animal shelter or go look at
No,
puppies or go look at kids because
no,
you're like,
it really is the same.
I mean,
It is the same.
Yeah.
Anybody who's going to be offended by that has probably never been around adoption.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
yeah, they're your babies.
So anyways, so yeah, I mean, we had this visit and yeah, it was a whole thing. And then it was a normal process would have been that months would have gone by of visits and then visits would have gone to overnights. And like, that didn't happen. These 3 little boys no foster family would keep them because they were literal savage animals. And so no one could keep them. And the next step was to separate them. So we were basically told by this caseworker, and she really was nice about it, but I do think it was a guilt trip. And it was, look, like, if you're not willing to take them, we have to separate them.
Oh
You have a
my
week.
goodness. You have a week?
So we went from expecting months of visitation if it was going to work out to them. We needed to get our house ready within a week for them to move in for the evers and evers. And we did. And it was certainly interesting.
Yeah. Not school age, not 2, not boy and girl, 3 boys.
Yeah, none of what we expected and everything we needed because they are
Yeah.
absolutely our kids.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've never questioned a minute of it.
No.
But it's just so it was insane. I'll never forget that first night. That first night, I was still working. We had no time. Brian goes to pick them up, and thank God we had already gotten a giant SUV. He's got like furniture in the back piled up. He comes home with these kids. It was as insane as you would think. They're, of course, terrified and confused. And when we finally got them to bed, we sat down. He poured us 2 very stiff drinks, and we sat there and drank them and went to bed and didn't speak to each other that night. Not like we were in a fight. We were
But,
just
like,
so
so
like
what just
power down,
happened?
just depleted. And then, hey, guess what? It was the craziest day. It got easier from there.
Yeah, of course it gets
Just like
easier
with
now.
any type of parent.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Okay, so that's when we met. We met shortly
Yes.
after you had adopted.
We'd
you
had
guys.
our 3 boys. Yeah,
You probably had them. I don't think you had them for.
not that long. Probably. I don't even think the adoption was final yet,
Yeah, because then
or maybe it had just been final. It was. Yeah.
Yeah, so as I'm sitting by you and I'm like, hearing this story and I'm like, oh my gosh, 3 kids at once. Like first I was already in awe of that because anyway, of everything you just said, and everybody else can feel that as well. The second one is I said, okay, are you guys done? I probably said so.
Oh
Are you
yeah, that
done?
part.
And you said, no. And I was like,
No, I said we still
What?
wanted a girl.
they said, we
Ah,
still want a girl. And I know I'm telling your story a little bit, but because as the person, and then you go, and we want a girl who's older than the boys.
yeah, we wanted somebody to kind of lead. We had gotten kids that were younger than we expected, so let's bring in an older influence. So it's all just so interesting the way that this works. So the girls, now remember, we had applied to adopt many different children before we got our boys. At one point, we had applied for these 2 little girls.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know if I ever told you this part. So
Yeah.
we never heard back. It is what it is, but they were particularly cute. And so the picture was like burned in my brain, whatever. So now we're going back and we're looking for a girl. Of course, right from the start, we realize it ain't going to be one. To adopt a single child there is a line out 22 doors.
Is that
like,
true?
Yeah, right?
guess
Because
that would
most
make
people
sense.
aren't insane like us. So I'm like, okay, well, let's be open. So we did, we looked. And so we applied for these 2 little girls. And it wasn't until like into the process that the light bulb went off one day and we realized, oh my God, we applied to adopt them before, which of course, like systems, oh boy, like insane to me that these poor girls sat in foster care because 2 years had gone by. So they sat in
Was it
foster
2
care for an
years?
additional 2 years when we didn't even get a response the first time. But of course, it all happens, I guess, for a reason.
Yeah.
And so that's how we ended up with our daughters.
Now,
Yeah.
as we're sitting on this I literally can see us sitting there. I said to you, because I love babies, and I said, oh, but what about a baby? And you're like,
And I was like, nope,
You're
no
like-
interest,
you're
don't
like-
want it.
yeah, you were, you shut that down fast enough. You're like, nope, we don't want babies. We don't. And I'm like, oh, that's the cute baby part.
Yeah. And I was
Mhm.
like,
What happened,
absolutely
Hudson?
not. Absolutely not. Well, our 6th kid we got as a baby. Our girl's biological mother is a troubled
Yeah.
human with a lot of struggles, and she, for the most part, lives on the streets. And she essentially she got pregnant, and bless her, she kept that baby healthy and went to a hospital to have it, but then abandoned him there. And we essentially I got a very interesting call on my way home from work one day. Hey, are you the parents of? And they said my kids' names, and I said, yeah. Well, they've got a baby brother, and he's been abandoned at the hospital. Would you take him? That's our youngest. So there you
Did
go.
you change your phone number after that? Because I feel like that would have been a
I
good
did
idea.
literally tell them, please never call us
Never
again.
call us.
Because I don't know how many more she might be able to produce, and who knows? Like I don't want to know.
Yep.
I can't know.
You can't know because
We still fit in a regular vehicle. The next step is church van from here, and I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not doing it. Don't look at me like that.
Oh, you better call me if a call comes in because I'll be like,
Yeah, you'll slap it down for us. So
Yeah.
that's how we ended up with all of these amazing,
Beautiful
beautiful,
little kids.
savage
And they
little
are.
children.
They're so sweet and cute.
But what about yours? Because your story's not fully traditional either, really.
No, it's not. So, and the interesting part is, okay, so I'm the oldest of 5 girls, right?
Yes.
And so I, at this point, get married around 30, which I don't know how many women out there think that you're now decrepit and old. And of course, there were a lot of fun jokes that my eggs were getting all moldy. And I'm like,
Talk.
not far off, right?
We're moving away from that, but I
We
mean, when
are.
you got
When I-
married,
yeah, that was-
society would have told you were very old.
Yes.
Yeah. Which
So we
is
got married
ridiculous.
at 30, and my husband said, "Hey, listen, I'd like to have a year of not doing whatever. Like, I don't want us to rush from marriage right
Yeah,
to
like
babies."
direct- yeah.
So I said, "Okay, that's fine. I'm good." Even though I was like,
TikTok. Yeah.
TikTok major, like the bong are happening. And so we start trying and make a decision to try, start whatever, and nothing happens. And I did all the things, the temperatures and the read the books. And I mean, if they said this might get you pregnant, we were trying that. Nothing. So we
Mhm.
finally went to a fertility doctor and they did all of the tests of everything and we were both fine. We were both completely fine. There was nothing
How
wrong
weird. Yeah.
with him. I was whatever, without getting onto the medical details, which I couldn't even remember what they are right now. But anyways, needless to say, everything was, there was no problem. So we went through their stages of first taking medicine, then doing shots, and then doing, just like the little things. And then it finally came down to we had already spent a ton of money. And now
sure.
we are, I think, like 4 or 5 years into this. It might have been closer to 4.5 years into this. And we weren't really making a ton of money.
Yeah.
I was new into real estate or had just been starting into real estate and Mike was doing his job and made good money. We also lived in DC.
Yeah.
It's expensive. And so we both looked at each other and says, we got to give this a break. Like we didn't know how to do it. Well, Mike found out like when an insurance switches in the year, he could go to a new insurance that covered portions of IVF.
Oh, okay.
And so we switched our insurance. We went back to the doctor and we started the process of IVF, which if you've ever gone through it is a lot.
Insane. Yeah.
It is. And I'm a very strong human, so it was fine. And I hear a lot of horror stories and everything. And I still feel like I did really well. Well, we try it the first time and nothing takes. Now, not to get too technical or whatever, but what they tend to do when they basically get me ready and it's like shots and hormones and basically they're doing their best to get like some type of an embryo to take.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But what they do is they get all of my eggs ready, but then they put everything in a Peachtree dish and they basically, this is how I think it looks. I'm sure it's more medical.
She's a medical doctor. Yeah.
I'm sure there's whatever it is. But I just think of this. They put everything in one thing and they put it on the countertop and they wait to see what happens. Well, they call us after 24 hours and said, and this is the best part. I think God created one man for him, but I don't know if he created us to have kids because nothing was playing well together in the sandbox. So they said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to inject each egg with everything and let's see what happens. Well, nothing took. So, and it's expensive. So
Yeah.
I keep saying that. And I don't think about the dollars now ever
Of
after
course,
having
but
the
when
kids.
you're in it,
But I will
mean,
tell you, when you're in it, all you're thinking is these better be freaking smart kids
yeah.
because their tuition is just
Yeah.
getting them, right? So we went in for our second round and they immediately did not do the let's see if they'll be friends together. They said, you're going to be friends. And I had, I think like 10 eggs at the time that were really mature or whatever. Well, from that, they call us up and they go, we think we've got what we can do. We're going to do I can't remember what it's called now. It doesn't matter. Somebody on here, I'm sure, will comment below. This is what it's called. But they're going to do basically the put them in me now to do it. And so I am going now, mind you, this is now 6+ years altogether. And I'm like, I just want a freaking baby. Because I'm gonna be 37 soon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just want a kid. And so I go in, I knew there were 3 good ones. And I went in and said, put them all in.
Yeah.
And my husband says, no, I don't want all of them in. And the doctor says, we are not in the business of making multiples. We're in the business of getting you
Yeah.
a baby. And I had this conversation with the doctor, which I'm sure you can imagine. I said, we can only do this maybe one more time. And I'm letting you know right now, I am not walking out of here without a baby. We've been doing this for 6.5 years. This is what we've been through. I want every shot possible because I can't not walk out of here without something. And so we all agreed to put in 2.
Okay.
And there you have Tilden and Tom.
Yeah.
That was it.
I love it.
And then we had to decide on the 3rd one because they weren't going to allow us to do it. So we froze the 3rd one, and we froze her for 4 years. And the best part about this, and my husband will, I'm sure when he listens to this, or maybe whoever, is when we had the 2, and we also agreed only to have 2.
Whoopsie.
And so when we talk about our maths,
Yeah.
well, I was like, I had 1 pregnancy.
Yeah.
Just because 2 babies came out does not
doesn't
mean
count.
anything. So I said I was really pushing to have a 3rd baby. 1, because I knew it was out there. I truly wouldn't have gone through the whole process again if I didn't have that one thing in
Yeah.
there. And I remember we were sitting in Paris, and I've told so few people this story, but we were walking around in Paris. Mike was there for work, and I had the opportunity to fly out and hang out in Paris. But I mean, if you're going to fly,
Yeah, I
somewhere,
mean-
let's just go to Paris. And we had what I probably would picture right now one of our biggest fights, because I wanted another baby and he adamantly did not want another baby. And I knew one of us had to give in. And I generally never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really.
And but I remember, and so that night I was in tears, and he kept wanting to like say, I'm sorry or whatever. And I just had to have that little death,
Yeah.
that little bit of, it's not going to happen. One of us, because we were very lucky with what we had. And then I did the thing that every parent or every mom does when you want to get back into shape and whatever. And we were about a year later. The boys, I think at this point, were probably 2 or so. And I was in a bikini bod. I mean, I worked out hard. We're sitting on a big bed in the Dominican overlooking the water, having our own little cocktail. And my husband looks over to me. He goes, I've been thinking. I would.
They're not supposed to think.
I know. He says something this. He says, I would never want to be the reason that you didn't get to have your 3rd baby. I would never want you to look back and regret that. And I'm the cause of it. So I think we should try again. And I really wanted to throw punch him.
Yeah.
Not because I'm like, no, I've mourned this loss. I already had it, and look at me now. And so another year went by, and we found out we were moving to Tampa,
Yeah.
and this was frozen in DC area. I started the process without him. I mean, I got the yes Dominican, but I literally went to the doctor without him. I started the medicine without him, and then
That's
finally,
very on brand.
so on brand. So then finally, whenever I needed him, I think I needed a signature. I had to broach the subject that, yes, so we might be looking at a 3rd baby soon. And sure enough, as we're leaving DC, we get the call from our doctor. I'm literally packed the car up with twins in the back driving, and she calls us up and says, you're pregnant.
Wow.
I know.
That's so cool.
It is cool. It is cool. And, I wouldn't do it any other way. And it's so lucky the way that it all worked out, having the boys first
Mm-hmm.
and Savannah, last, because I don't know. And they're almost exactly 4 years apart.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I love it.
I know.
So look at all this craziness. So we've got all these kids, only 2 marriages, all these businesses. How does it all work? Because I know I get the question all the time.
I
Like,
know.
how do you make all this work?
How do you not make it work?
Well, that's literally what I tell people.
I
I'm
do.
like, you know what? Guess what? The kids aren't going anywhere.
No.
I don't want the husband to go anywhere.
Correct.
And like, I got to keep making money. So
Yes, but
it's messy.
Yes,
It's totally messy.
so messy.
And you figure it out.
You do figure
You
it out.
figure it out. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny. People will say to me all the time, "How did you do twins?" I said, "Well, they wouldn't take one back. It was a BOGO. Like you got to take it home."
Yeah. Well, all of our adoptions, we were told there was a no return
There was a
policy.
no return
So,
policy. You're stamped, sealed, signed, and delivered.
yeah.
And when it comes to business, I don't know how. Well, I'll give you a good example of how it works. And I think it'll probably be the same for you when we were talking about this. And I had Michael helping me with doing some of this stuff and everything.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, "Do you sometimes just wish your wife was just like, just did a job and just didn't?" And even though it's so messy, it's so much fun. Could you imagine us not having all this like mess with the businesses? And here's the fun
No,
thing.
I'd be a mess.
If we had a good business idea in 4 minutes, you and I would be jump starting a fifth business each.
Yeah.
Don't
In
you
4
think so?
minutes. Yeah.
And yeah, like I would be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just our DNA.
I think it is, but I also think there's things that you do to, again, it's never not messy, but I think there's things that you do to make it less messy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for me, it's boundaries. I have what I call it my filter. Like, I don't really have a filter, but for decision making, my filter. And that is simply that, like, I can't say yes to everything. I'm sure there's plenty of yes people listening.
Yeah.
I am a constantly recovering yes person.
Yes.
And look, I have to, before I say yes or no to something, before I make a decision, my question is always, is this going to bring me joy? Is this going to bring me income or wealth? I kind of interchange the two words.
Yeah.
Even though they are not the same thing, whatever, money. And look, if I can't say yes to both of those things, like it's not happening. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just, and it has made everything so simple from there. For me, the other things that it is I don't keep secrets from Brian.
Yeah.
Not that I ever would intentionally anyways, but like if things are going squirrely somewhere with work or with the kids, like I got to loop him in early on because he's the other half and he's got to help me through this stuff.
Yeah.
He's got to be aware of it. I've let it slip before where something is going wonky in business and I don't tell him right away. And then I turn into a raging awful person because I'm holding it in. So I've just learned, like,
so smart.
You can't have secrets with one another. And, the only other, this one might sound so simple, but it's a big part of who we are as a family. Like, we eat dinner together every night. It's a non-negotiable thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if that means because there's events we have to eat dinner at 4:30, like we're 100 years old.
That's I love that.
Or if we're eating dinner at 8:30 and I'm scooting them to bed on a full stomach, which I know is not good. I don't need you to tell me. Like, but we're gonna sit together every single night because otherwise we become disconnected.
Yeah. No, I love that.
What works for you?
It's probably a lot of the same things, right? Like, because Michael is the biggest support system I have, period. Like, if something's going down awry and I don't ask for a lot of help, and I don't think you're I don't know why that is. And he's my one. He's it. He's the person that I know that I can tell everything to, anything to, and he's that. We don't do dinner every night together. I love that you do that. And that could be something I could look at. Well, we do dinner together a lot.
Yeah.
We have Friday night dinners that are always happening, meaning sometimes because my kids are in late night soccer. So Savannah and I might have dinner, but then I sit down with the boys when they have dinner on that piece there. Another big thing that Mike and I do specifically that I think keeps us together longer is one time a year we do a vacation.
Yeah, you do your major trips.
We do. And they've not all been like big trips, but there's always a time it's just him and I. We farm the kids to anybody that'll keep them alive. And we go on this vacation and it is like it rights the wrongs of what's happening. Meaning I feel like we're two ships passing in the night a lot of the times. And this gives our chance to get back into it. Most of the time on the trips, we're talking about how much we miss the kids or funny stories or whatever. But no matter what, it's us together. And then another big one is electronics. Like we keep that to a minimum.
Yeah.
I know you do that as well. And we just, if we're going to go to a bowling alley or we're going to go and do something fun or we're going to road trip, like we play card games and we limit everything. And I think that's so that the kids know that we're connected and they start to see it now. Meaning we were at a bowling alley and the parents right next to us had two young kids. They're at a bowling alley. Like the activities implied. It's there. And the two little boys. And my son goes, "Hey, Mom, I feel like you're raising us right." I'm like, "Boys."
Oh my gosh.
At 13, I'm like,
man.
And he says, "Look at them. They're over there with their parents at a fun place and they're not doing that. So it's little things like that. Like, how do we just stay connected with them so that because we travel a lot, right?
Yeah.
And when I'm gone, I'm gone. And when I'm here, I want to be present and be here.
No, I love that. And it is connection. You know, I feel like one thing that I've said to my kids a lot is that, you know, I always tell it in a kind of funny way so they don't feel bad, but it's like, do you have a favorite or whatever? That comes up a lot. We have a lot of kids. My answer is always, yeah, it's your dad.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like he's my favorite. You guys come second. And don't get me wrong, you'll never need it. Like, you'll always be taken care of.
Yeah.
But I've witnessed too many marriages fall apart because the only focus is
Yes.
on the kids. And I'm not setting that example for them. I
Yeah.
refuse.
I probably haven't, and I've never said that, but I think I might start now. I feel the same way too, because if
Yeah.
him and I can't stay together, this isn't going to stay together.
No, and your kids don't want that. I mean, like,
No.
seriously. Like,
No. Yeah.
ugh,
Yeah, I do love the favorite question. That's a whole topic for a whole nother day. That's a lot of fun. So,
I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Very,
We
very
have
cool.
we have a pretty cool little dynamic for
I
for those
think we
people. Don't you
do.
think so?
Cool, insane, but mostly cool.
Oh, a lot of insane.
Yeah,
It's fun, insane though.
I love
Yeah,
it.
we're raising little humans. All right, we got to get to one of my favorite parts. I love this part.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like, what are people thinking sometimes?
I don't think people think a
Like,
lot of the
who's-
times.
Who thinks this is a good idea?
I don't know. Mine's really dumb and petty, but I also do drive a lot, and I drive a lot of different cars because I travel all the time for work. I think a total evil person created that stupid start stop thing because I don't need my car to stall every time that I'm at a traffic light or a stop sign. I just think it's the dumbest thing in the world. I don't think it actually does anything.
I have more people who complain about it than love it.
It's the stupidest thing in the world. And then I'm going to double down on it. By the way, I think it's going away, which is super, super great to hear. And here's what I don't understand. When I turn it off once, it should not come back on again until I turn it back on again. None of this every time I start the car, I got to go hit that extra
Do you
button.
have to do that every time now?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it's
Who thought that was
evil.
a good idea?
Somebody who was wrong. Somebody who was wrong. I'm sure they meant well. They were wrong.
Oh, all right. Mine's going to go to back to the school system.
Oh, good.
I mean, I love our school system. Who thought Common Core math was a good idea? Now, listen. We can math. Well, maybe we
I can.
that
Well,
might
we
be
can definitely
question.
do our own math.
We can
but
do
yeah.
our own math. Why are we changing it? And it's funny because I'll teach the kids non-Common Core.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work because the teachers need them to show their work, which I totally understand. And I'm like, why change what was working?
Yeah.
Like nobody ever said they couldn't figure out 2 + 2.
Yeah.
Now you got to put it in bubbles and tens and whatever. I don't
Look,
even
I
know.
love me a teacher. They are very underpaid, and I don't like this.
Whatever dummy thought this was a good idea to have teachers have to relearn math as well, because as a mom trying to help your kids with that, dumb.
Yeah. No,
Super
thank you.
hmm Well, my name's Kimberly Horn,
I'm Hudson Warren.
and we meant well.
We sure did. We will continue to mean well.